I'm Joanna Small, your public information officer for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. It's Friday, May 19th, and this is your WRPD Video Weekend Review. Here's a summary of some of the most notable incidents your Wheat Ridge patrol officers responded to over this past week. On May 17th, the WRPD corporal attempted a traffic stop on a 2014 Ford F-250 around 38th and Nelson. The driver eluded our corporal, then abandoned the vehicle at an apartment complex and fled on foot into the Greenbelt. The vehicle had an ATL, or an attempt to locate, from 2022 regarding a hit and run. The abandoned truck was blocking apartment residents from accessing their parking lot and was therefore towed. The investigation into who was behind the wheel is ongoing at this time. Also on May 17th, officers spotted a man smoking fentanyl inside a vehicle. When approached, the suspect was startled and blew the fentanyl into the face of one of our officers, who began having an adverse reaction to the substance. The officer was monitored at the hospital and fortunately was released. The suspect was jailed on an outstanding warrant and is now facing new charges for possessing a felony amount of that drug. Again on May 17th, officers spent time proactively patrolling around the Kipling I-70 area and made a number of arrests, to include a woman with a warrant out of the Denver Marshal's Office for dangerous drugs, another suspect with a number of warrants who was also in possession of a syringe of methamphetamine and several credit cards that were not his, and a woman with an active shoplifting warrant out of Edgewater. All three people were jailed on those warrants. And still on May 17th, officers at Caesar Square Apartments heard 4 to 7 shots while working another call there. One of the officers then observed a suspect running from where the shots were heard, and a community member saw that suspect drop a black object. That object turned out to be a bag with approximately 200 fentanyl pills, 30 grams of methamphetamine, a small amount of heroin, and some cash. A search for the suspect was unsuccessful, but the bag with the illegal substances was booked into our evidence. On May 16th, one of our observant patrol officers in the area of West 32nd Avenue in Kipling spotted a man on the sidewalk suffering from what appeared to be a drug overdose. Our officer called for assistance from paramedics, but while he waited, he administered Narcan, which had an instant impact on the man, who began to come to. When paramedics arrived, they transported him to the hospital. That's excellent work and quick thinking by our patrol officer, who was first on the scene and very likely saved this man's life. Again on May 16th, one of the suspects in a recent robbery in which 2 teens used a gun to attempt to rob a man in a Quay Street parking lot came into the police department lobby in an attempt to collect his property from evidence. Instead, our records technicians recognized him and officers took him into custody for that robbery warrant. Also on May 16th, officers were called to the Safeway on Wadsworth for a robbery in which one man distracted a clerk who had the drawer on the register open, while another man pushed the clerk and stole several $100s. Both suspects then got into a dark-colored pickup truck with no license plate. Although officers got to the scene fast, that truck had already vacated the area. Again on May 16th, WRPD officers were called to assist the Edgewater Police Department after one of their patrol vehicles was struck by a stolen vehicle that then fled west on West 29th Avenue. The stolen vehicle crashed a short time later, and the female driver fled on foot into Edgewater. We responded to assist with setting up a perimeter. Unfortunately, that suspect was not located. On May 15th, officers responded to a DUI collision in which an intoxicated driver ran a red light at West 38th Avenue and Harlan Street, causing an accident. There were no injuries, but a routine clearance of the suspected drunk driver revealed a felony warrant for his arrest. He was jailed on that warrant and is facing new charges for that crash. On May 14th, officers were called to a menacing incident involving an ice pick. The suspect was located at 44th and Field and had a pickaxe gardening tool in his hand. No probable cause for the menacing incident could be developed by officers, but the suspect did have a felony warrant for his arrest, so he was jailed on that warrant. On May 13th, officers tracked down a car alarm that was going off in front of the 7-Eleven on West 38th Avenue. The vehicle had a misused and stolen license plate attached, as well as damage consistent with what would be a stolen vehicle. While conducting an inventory of the car, officers found checks, multiple vehicle registrations, and various bank documents. While officers were booking that evidence, they learned the vehicle was indeed an unreported steal. We also highlighted several significant incidents as standalone posts on our social media pages this week. The first 2 incidents involved stolen vehicles. One was recovered in the Sierra Trading Post parking lot with the suspect behind the wheel passed out with burnt fentanyl on his lap. That driver had 8 warrants for his arrest, a stolen firearm, and was in possession of methamphetamine, fentanyl, and identification documents belonging to other people. The second involved a vehicle stolen out of Aurora that was left in one of our motel parking lots. 2 people's identification was found inside, and officers were able to locate and arrest both of those people. In a separate but similar post yesterday, we told you about officers locating a vehicle stolen out of Edgewater, again with the suspect passed out behind the wheel with drug paraphernalia in plain view. He was removed successfully from the vehicle and is now facing aggravated motor vehicle theft charges. While vehicle theft continues to be an ongoing problem everywhere in Colorado, Wheat Ridge is one of the few jurisdictions in the Denver metro that saw a decrease in these kinds of thefts in 2022, the most recent year for which annual statistics are available. And two more quick things. Please don't forget to stop by our community services team low-cost pet vaccine clinic tomorrow at Anderson Park from 9 until 1 p.m. You can also get your pet licensed, which is a city requirement, for just $20. And get yourself registered to have your catalytic converter etched with a unique identifier free of charge for you. We got a grant to do this and are partnering with Cypher Automotive to host 2 etching events in June. We've created an online sign up for them. You'll find the links on our Facebook page or next door. The idea is to make it easier to track your catalytic converter in the event it is stolen and make it less appealing to thieves who would try to then resell it. Now don't forget to get registered today as spots are going pretty fast. You probably noticed there were quite a few stolen vehicle recoveries this week, 9 of them in total. We also cracked down on dangerous driving behavior in areas where we've witnessed it and where you've told us about it as well. In addition to the tickets our crash and traffic team issue, our patrol officers alone wrote approximately 55 citations for traffic infractions this past week. Additionally, we proactively contacted people for lesser offenses like trespassing and jaywalking, which often lead to arrests for crimes like drug possession and/or having outstanding warrants. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. And remember, if you need us, we are always just minutes away.